A huge round of applause for all the panelists here. We're still getting in touch with all of that. All right, everybody here likes cricket or football? Yes, we still have that yes or no? Yes, no, right? All right. How many of you think cricket is better than football? Now, it's a debatable topic, right? How many of you think Virat Kohli can beat Sachin Tendulkar's record of 100 centuries? Debatable topic again. Why do we call it a debatable topic? Because you are also not wrong, the other person is also not wrong. But at the same time, both have excellent points that they want to put forward. And that is what we are going to have today. We have Commander Saini from Indian Navy. Huge round of applause for Commander Saini. We have Mr. Senthil Kumar from KVB. A huge round of applause for Mr. Senthil Kumar as well. Keep the applause going, man. We need some energy in the house. It's getting a little down. क्या खाना ज़्यादा खा लिया? पकौड़े अच्छे थे क्या था? पकौड़े ठंडे थे. पकौड़े ठंडे थे इसलिए शायद मूड नहीं कर रहा था. But anyways, we have Mr. Isaac, the CMO of Secure, my boss. So please give a huge round of applause for Mr. Isaac. Appraisals. And we have Mr. Abhijit. He's the co-founder and the CTO of Secure as well. Now, thank you so much. This is what I'm talking about. Now, the irony here is we are a security company, but we would be rooting for privacy. The irony here. All right. So what are we going to talk about today? At the heart of this discussion lies one fundamental topic that we want to talk about, which is, I should be able to read this, I have glasses. Should the right to personal privacy outweigh the need to secure data, breaches and misuses? Or do stringent security measures provide foundations upon which privacy can exist? This is a very complex and complicated scenario, which we are going to break it down to you. So, how we are going to do that? The following are the rules of this debate. Biting, scratching, clawing, fisting, everything is allowed. All right, so you can fight amongst yourself and may the best man win. All right, we're not going to do that. So, each team, each member will have 4 minutes to put forth their thoughts, what they have in mind. The other team, in the meanwhile, will have 2 minutes to rebuttal that particular person. Sounds confusing? Yes, no, maybe, perhaps, could be, shall be. Okay, I got 1 thumbs up, so I'll go ahead with it. All right, this cycle will repeat until everybody has spoken their minds and their hearts out. And post that, we will have a 3-minute, common fighting round. Okay. Not the fighting round, a common discussion round. So, to my right, we have security. To my left, we have privacy. Who's going to win?
Privacy. Of course.
Security, privacy. We'll see it at the end of the debate. Let's give a big round of applause to Commander Saini, who's going to start off with this discussion. Commander, if you can go up to the podium. Yeah, that would be great. Thank you so much. We have a 4-minute countdown. Can we do that? All right, great. Commando, you can start.
Shall we?
Yeah, please.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. So the whole day we have been discussing cyber security related aspects, and I think we are warmed up enough for this debate now. Well, anyway, coming directly to the point, see, we know that today there is no choice with all of us. All of are using different kind of web services for our day-to-day lives. Our data is definitely not with us. It is in the cloud. Custodian is somebody else. Now that somebody else has a choice whether intentionally to breach, but any credible company won't do it. But however, data can also be lost unintentionally. Hackers, they are at job day in and day out to bring down the reputation of any company. So one way is to fortify by using all kinds of best firewalls, DLP solutions, network monitoring tools. Fine, everybody can do that. But does it ensure security? Now, I feel that, in this debate, security versus privacy, If any organization is able to provide measurable security, demonstrable security, that means the privacy part will be delivered as an offshoot. I mean to say, you work on your security, privacy will be delivered without any, with very less effort. Now, having said that, one thing also needs to be kept in mind. What worked yesterday might not be useful today, and definitely not tomorrow. So in this evolution of continuous change, if companies are not following their practices of securing their data, of users' data, that means they've already lost the battle. What a company can do in this changing environment, because the moment you have data, you have to be productive with that data. The only way to move forward, use that data, because wherever the data is there, it is a thriving ground for various kind of AI and machine learning possibilities. Any company would want to join that bandwagon to increase the business productivity. So in this changing landscape, what a company can do is, in today's world, like Google, they don't collect data centrally to make it a gold mine for someone to hack. They have developed special tools to enable security, wherein this instance of algorithm goes to the customer premises, learns only what is required without getting the data onto the central location. So the point here is we have to change the way we have been dealing with the data. Data no more comes to a central location. You go to the location of data. If any organization is able to achieve this effectively, they have addressed privacy already. Now, the other part, it cannot happen that it is not always feasible to move to the premises of user. There will be occasions when data needs to come to a particular location first. In that case also, there are state-of-the-art encryption techniques which work directly on the encrypted data, and there is no need of decrypting it and knowing what is the underlying information. Something called homomorphic encryption. So these are the state-of-the-art things which any company should focus on to actually win this game of security in the changing landscape. If you're able to do it, you have addressed privacy already. I think I'm out of time. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Commander Saini. Big round of applause for Commander Saini. And in terms of boxing match, Commander Saini throws a right hook. What does Team Privacy have to say about this? Do they have any rebuttals? Yes, they do. Here we go. This is going to get interesting. Hang on to your heads, guys.
Okay. So he's my customer, so I have to be a little lenient. Okay. But yeah, I mean, I think you spoke about security. Do security and privacy will be achieved, right? My argument is, if that was true, we didn't require DPDP, right? The whole reason why DPDP has come in place, in spite of all the security regulations already being there, is because there needs to be more specific focus on the privacy of every citizen or every individual, right? So just by focusing on security without considering the privacy aspects of it, it's not going to be good enough. And I believe, of course, security is required. Without security, you cannot achieve privacy. But without considering privacy while designing your security policies, you will not achieve the privacy that really required. And please remember the figure 250 crores.
I would say, as you started with the example of cricket, fine, good enough. The way the cricket was played around 20 years back, today there are more to refine the game, to be played better. There are more technological things are being thrown in the same game, while the umpiring still remains there. I'm just not challenging the legal aspect of it. It should be there. It's a different framework that needs to evolve as the technology evolves. I was mentioning, you being in the security business, if culturally you are evolving yourself, that means you are already falling in line what law is going to throw at you. It will be that much easier for you to address this DPD challenge as brought out by Mr. Dugal in the morning. Government is giving you time right now. They are not implementing from day one. They are giving you time. What can you do in that time? You prepare yourself well. How do you prepare yourself well? I was trying to say there are methodologies which a company should aspire to adopt in order to prepare them for these upcoming challenges of 250 crores.
Thank you so much, Commander Seni. He comes back again. So now, Mr. Isaac, what do you have to say about this? The floor is all yours. Please put your hands together for Mr. Isaac.
All right, can you hear me okay? So this is such an interesting topic because you look at the dawn of human history, we have had this challenge between usability and security, privacy versus safety. And I think at our core fundamental center as human beings, we want to feel like we are safe and we want to feel like we're in control. And when you think about that, going back 100 years, there was an easy balance there. You could see somebody was coming out of the city, coming into the city. You knew who they were, you knew what they were doing, you knew their role in society. In the digital world, those lines have been extremely blurred because you can impersonate someone online, you don't know what they're doing. And so, of course, that limits our security, our sense of safety. However, to feel like we're in control, now that somebody can monitor everything I do, everywhere I go online, everything I purchase, now I feel as an individual that I am no longer in control of what others see me do or do not do. And so that's the fundamental challenge. In fact, the United Nations declared that privacy is a fundamental human right. And to Abhijit's point, that's exactly why these data protection acts across the world have popped up, to help us understand, well, who is in control of our data? What are they doing with it? How do I regain control of that and maintain my privacy? And when you start to think about the overreach that we've seen throughout human history, I think many people say, yes, I'm okay with giving up a little bit of privacy for security, but I don't want to give up control of my personal situation. What about the slippery slope that happens that we've seen with government overreach? Security, they think, is equal to surveillance. Now, how do we make sure that we're maintaining the security while still giving that control that we need? And that is the slippery slope that we must navigate overall. And so with that, that's why we think privacy must be at the center of any kind of security measure that's put in place, whether it's physical or digital, to ensure that people do feel safe while maintaining control at all times. Thank you very much.
All right. Short and sweet, but, he packs a punch. So, Mr. Senthil, Mr. Commander Seni, you have any rebuttal questions for him? Yeah, sure. Please go ahead. The floor is all yours.
Mr. Isaac, you mentioned that a customer is never at peace because there is a possibility of slippery slope. How to address that slippery slope and give an absolute sense of security to your customer? Is it possible?
That is a great question. And I think, again, having that sense of control is really the core to answer that question. Essentially, if I know exactly how my data is being used, who's viewing that data, what are they doing with it, and at all times, that helps me as a private individual have confidence that the information that's being used is not used to spy on me, but to actually understand and glean insights and information and patterns that may happen. Right? I live in the United States, and we saw some really interesting surveillance laws passed after 9/11, after September 11th, the Patriot Act, namely, and the government started collecting all kinds of information from all kinds of sources on every citizen that was out there, and it was supposed to be only on specific suspicious activity. And Edward Snowden, the ex-CIA contractor, pointed out that there was mass surveillance happening on American citizens. And that's instantly when Americans felt like we were no longer in control of what was going on, the data that we were using or the phone calls we were making and how that was being used. So I think bringing in an element of control and accountability to show that we are indeed using it for very measured purposes and not unfettered access to be able to surveil everybody and everything they're doing at any given time. That's how I think we prevent the slippery slope.
All right, thank you so much.
Just to add to what Isaac said, see, there is one aspect which is a little bit in the gray area, right? When the government is using personal data, and even in DPDP we heard in the morning, it is still kept as an open area, right? But when it comes to private enterprises, I think the line could be drawn much more clearly, right? Between what is a legitimate use of personal data and what is not, right? So at least in the enterprise space, I think there is a lot more clarity that we can bring in of how a personal data should be used and how it should not be misused.
All right, so we have gone through 50% of the competition. Who do you think is winning? Is it privacy? Good morning. Is it privacy or is it security? Privacy? Security? Security is winning. Let's see Mr. Senthil if he can add to it. Big round of applause for Mr. Senthil.
Colleague has already given a thought on security, the importance of security aspects. I'll put forth 2 points from a banking industry. I'm from a banking industry. So for banking industry, privacy is not new. DPDP Act it's only recent act. But for banking, maintaining a secrecy is more important. So from privacy I'm starting. So we are supposed to maintain privacy. To how that, give the assurance to that. That assurance only security can give. The privacy can be assured only by security. So that's the first primary part we are supposed to take care as a banker. So because trust on which our business is built. So banking business is built on a trust. Customers trust, we can get if we give the assurance from the security, our business is built on that. If that assurance is lost, no, there ends the business. So the security gives the assurance on privacy, which is supporting us on the business. So it's a major point we are supposed to take care. Maybe the other point, which is the primary topic for the today's event, DPDP. From the DPDP itself, we can take it. I have to concur with them that privacy is the point primarily dealt in DPDP. But what will support the technology to ensure this privacy to DPDP Act implementation? It's a security implementation which we are supposed to ensure to give that we are complying with the privacy. See, if we are not giving importance for the security to ensure that these requirements of DPDP are implemented, how we can give that, or how we can prove that we are maintaining the secrecy as per the DPDP requirements. It is not just to show it, because that starting from consent or from the notices, we are supposed to maintain audit trails. We are supposed to establish that all these things are in place to disprove that if there is any claim. So, including audit trials, we are supposed to ensure that security of those trials, audit trials also maintained. It is not just customer information, including the audit trial informations we are supposed to take care. So again, security takes the lead there. And maybe one more provision which is given in the Act, I will take to our support. In no place security is exempted, but in DPDP Act, there are exemptions. There are exemptions starting from security, right? So what can be exempted is, in case of security matters, privacy issues can be exempted. That's how it is there. The DPDP Act gives that rights, right? So there comes the importance of security. So we are not denying that privacy is not or should not be taken care, but edge over should be given to the security so that security will take care of the privacy. This is what we are trying to convey.
All right. Thank you so much. That was very wonderful. Mr. Senthil, team privacy. Do we have anything that you want to ask Mr. Senthil right now?
As long as security is taking care of privacy, I am good.
That works.
Well, I have one thing to or ask, a comment. And by the way, this is a tough crowd. We're in front of a bunch of security people, so of course security is going to win. I think this is loaded against us from the beginning. When starting from privacy, right, and you say, hey, we're going to start from a core pillar of privacy, how much privacy do you think individuals are willing to give up to get that balance of security?
Yeah, I agree. See, we have to draw a line, there is no doubt. But that will not give that, irrespective of that line is drawn or not, without the security that cannot be assured. So that's where I am coming. Line should be there. But for that line, we cannot go away with the security. Since line is not there, you don't do the security. So that's what.
All right.
Yeah, we are expecting a clear guidelines. Maybe we will see rules are coming, will be coming up. We'll see what clarity we are getting it. Maybe going forward, it may be further fine-tuned.
Thank you. Okay, guys, we think it's being a little too civil right now, isn't it? This debate is going very calmly, very, serenely. Do you think we should add spices to it? Yes, no? Yes? Okay, let's add some spices to it, all right?
I've had enough Indian spice since I've been here. Thank you very much.
Well, let's add some more. That's going to be fun. Now, with Abhijit, he's going to talk about privacy, as usual. Then we are going to make them switch places. For 1 minute, in conclusion, security guys are going to say why privacy is better. And for 1 minute, privacy guys are going to say why security is better. What do you think? Interesting? Come on guys, yaar, thoda to energy dikhao. Yes, no? Yes. All right. So let's have Abhijit first. Abhijit, right now he's talking about privacy. Big round of applause for Mr. Abhijit.
Okay. Yeah, I hope you can hear me. So I know there is a larger debate, right, which is more philosophical debate of, choosing between the public security versus, personal privacy. And it has been a big debate, especially after, 9/11, there was a Patriot Act which was passed, and there was a lot of debate around this. But for now, I would like to focus today on the enterprise domain, right, and the implications for the business and security leaders, because that's, most of you are from that domain, right? So I'd like to put focus on 3 specific use cases or 3 specific areas which often get deprioritized or don't get enough attention in the whole security strategy, right? The first one is collection and use of personal data at scale, right? And we know that a lot of enterprise policies are today decided based on consumer data, right? It fuels new product introductions, personalized experiences, or even go-to-market strategies, right? And a lot of banks, consumer product companies, they collect a lot of this personal data because they want to, design their products around this. There is also a new breed of, consulting companies which have come up, right? Which help you harvest this data, apply some machine learning techniques, right? And come up with new insights for the enterprise. Now, are we doing enough to protect this personal information which is collected at scale, right? And a lot of malware, ransomware, for them, this is like, these repositories are like juicy targets, right? So how are we protecting our data when it is collected at this mass scale? The second use case I want to talk about is outsourcing, right? I'm sure a lot of you, all right, and most large organizations today outsource a lot of their business processes, right? And whether it is about, customer onboarding or loan origination or credit card, collections or claim processing or what have you, right? There are a lot of these processes are being done by external third parties, and you share a lot of your customer data with these third parties in order to enable them to run these processes, right? Many of them are also, using this to kind of, harvest and, generate more insights. So how are we making sure that this personal data, when it is shared with third parties, it gets secured and it's still under your control? You know exactly what is happening. And I'll give you a very, interesting example. One of the large banks, they were actually using a third party to do their, processing of, credit card chargebacks. And when we implemented Seclore, they decided to protect all this data and only allow that third party to access that data, right? And we planned, we mapped all the policies with the workflow, everything. And the day we launched it, suddenly there was a huge, disruption, and there was a lot of chaos. And we figured out, we were trying to figure out what's happening, right? And the third party was saying, we are not able to access the data, right? And we said, okay, but we have given permissions to all of you. And when we investigated, they realized that the third party was actually subcontracting to a lot of other third parties, which the bank was never aware of, right? So are we doing enough to protect data when it is getting, passed on to these third parties? So that's point number 2. The third point is about government protecting citizens' data, right? With a lot of this digitization, right, there is a humongous amount of data collected by all government agencies, right? Whether it is your digital transactions, whether it is your land data, or it is your surveillance data, the video surveillance data, right? There are all kind of government agencies who have information about citizens, right, about you. And we had a case where in just a few years back, there was a huge project by Central Bureau of Direct Taxes, right, the income tax department essentially, where they collated financial data across all financial institutions in India in a one central data lake. And you could extract report for any citizen from that data lake. So any investigative officer could extract that report. Now you can imagine the kind of sensitivity associated with that kind of report, right? And they wanted to make sure that that report is protected, right? So of course they use Seclore to protect that report and make sure it is not misused. But the thing is, how many government agencies are actually using these kind of controls and going that extra mile to protect the citizens' information, right? So these are some of the use cases that I have, and which I would say like maybe a tip of the iceberg of cases which get often missed out in the security strategy because there is not enough focus on privacy of the data related to citizens or customers or what have you.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right. So everybody's good? Okay. Who won? Security? Security won? But you know that these guys are security now, right? We are in security now, right? Right? Anyways, for 1 minute conclusions, we are going to switch sides now. Guys, literally walk over. Come on. And for 1 minute conclusions, this team is now going to talk about security, why security is better than privacy, and this team is going to talk about why privacy is better than. Okay, let's do it again. This team is going to talk about security is better than. Okay, and this team is going to talk about is better than. All right. Huge round of applause for the team. Who's going to go first? Who's going to go first? We'll let the audience decide. We'll let the audience decide. Just make noise. Just make noise when I point. So you want security is going first. You want Abhijit to go first or Isaac to go first? Abhijit?
Okay.
Abhijit? All right, so we got Abhijit. So Abhijit is going first. Huge round of applause for Abhijit here now.
Okay, so first of all, thank you. I represent a security company, so I should be better talking about security. Unfortunately, I was on the other side, right? But yes, of course, security is important, and you cannot achieve privacy without security. So although privacy, DPDP, and there are various other things which are important to be considered during security, but security goes far beyond just the privacy, right? Privacy is an important consideration, but it is not the whole of it, right? There are other things like we talked about IP protection, which is also come under security. There are a lot of information related, which is business sensitive, which may not be about privacy, but which still needs to be secured to protect your business. So yes, privacy is important, but security is the larger umbrella under which privacy will get covered.
Well, first off, Abhijit made such a great point earlier. It's hard to fight for security now. It is so good on that one. But when we look at the other side of the coin, right? How do we find the balance between usability and security, privacy and security, right? Those are the couple of things that we've got to think about. But when we think about security from, really a personal data perspective, there must be guarantees that, we can control that data at any given time wherever it goes. So there is the trade-off of some security comes to the privacy matter as well. How do we protect intellectual property? How do we protect government secrets, as an example, right? So there is a trade-off, there is a loss of privacy, but at the end of the day, I think it is the transparency that gives the control, or gives the sense of control for someone. Now, one of my favorite adages of all time is that conflict comes from misaligned expectations, right? So basically, it says, hey, I thought you were going to do something and you didn't, or hey, I thought you were going to do something. And what I think happens in this debate of privacy versus security is when somebody says, I'm giving you some information, and my expectation is that you will keep it private and not use it in different ways, right? I think that's where the conflict comes and we start to have the slippery slope that we talked about a few moments ago, where now the trust is eroded, and now I don't trust what you're going to do with my data and keep it secure. But with that said, we've got to be able, at all times, to be able to keep threats at bay, have intelligence about things that could happen in the future, and ensure, though, that we are keeping a safe and secure society at every turn that we have. Now, how much privacy are we willing to give up to have that security? Again, how safe do we want to be versus how much control do we want to have? And I think that is the essence of this debate and discussion that we may not solve here. It's like solving world hunger in 20 minutes. But ultimately, that's the question. How much privacy do we want to give up to maintain security?
Thank you so much, Isaac. By the team security, 1 point is deducted. You exceeded the time limit. All right. Team privacy, Mr. Senthil, are you up? All right. Huge round of applause for Mr. Senthil.
As an individual, so my privacy is more important, right? So
he just won. He just won the debate. There you go. It's over.
No, main part will be lagging is a transparency. When it comes to security, if the transparency is maintained, how my privacy will not be compromised. If that is there, it's okay, but mostly it will not be there. So there, the lag will be there. There, the importance of privacy will be compromised. That's what, as an individual, it becomes more important for me on the privacy. Because how my data will be, irrespective of security, how it will not be compromised or misused. Because it may be a government or it may be an organization, ultimately it will be used by an individual, right? But how that individual will not be misusing it. How I can get that assurance? So there I'll be missing out from a privacy perspective.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Senthil. And lastly but not the least, we have Commander Saini. Huge round of applause for Commander Saini again.
I never thought that within a span of 15 years I'll have to change my mind. But anyway, if that happens, so so be it. So, as Mr. Senthil rightly brought out, as a user, he's most bothered about his security. Well, actually, if you see these two aspects, when we talk about security, we're talking from the perspective of an organization who's a custodian. But when we talk about privacy, as a user, as an end user, I don't care how the hell you protect my data. I have given you my data. What, do I have any control over it? I don't. You can make a lot of promises to me that I do this, I do that, I do this, I do anything. But how do I know whether you do all of that? The only measure I have here is I have a plethora of options available to me in today's digital world. If I want to book a particular flight, I have 5 sites in front of me. How do I choose? Simple. The one which gives me convenience and has a good reputation. How do you earn that reputation? By not coming into the news or articles which brings down by, any news which comes in media has some reason behind it. People are not bothered what reason is. Once your name is there, nobody has the time to figure it out. You're gone forever. So as an individual, how do I choose? I choose privacy, and I do not want to compromise. Like you asked, do you want to, which level of privacy you want to compromise? I do not want to compromise anything. You please better make your security so that I don't lose anything. If something bad reputation comes to you, I'm not going to go to you. There are many users out there. So privacy is paramount. Any company not addressing this privacy concern is doomed. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Commander Sani. Thank you so much. So, ladies and gentlemen, we come to the end of the debate. Let me ask you again, who won? Now, privacy won. Ooh, you know what to do when the appraisal cycle comes. All right. So
I think it was just the debaters that were better on the other
yeah,
side.
I get that. All right. I cannot add anything that these gentlemen have not added. The only thing I can say is privacy and security are two sides of the same coin. One cannot exist without the other, and one cannot function without the other. If there is no privacy, there is no security. If there is no security, there is no privacy. Right? So there's a great example that Mr. Pawan Duggal said in the morning. The chat GPT, the 4 girls, the 4 girlfriends. Remember all of that? 7. All right. So maybe I was not listening properly. I brought it down to 4. Anyways, so again, that stands to reason as to what privacy and security are all about. So no matter who won, I would request everybody to please get up and huge round of applause for both these panelists. Amazing job. Let's all raise hands like after the boxing. Yes. Come on. Yes. Yes, Commander Sani. Yeah. Yes, everybody won. Both security and privacy, everybody won. All right. Thank you so much.